Welcome to United Network News, the official news channel for CARE, the Center for Amity and Restoration of Earth. I'm Sunny Galt. At UNN, you get the real news. Through our field messengers, we show you the truth about what's really taking place in our communities. We also bring you stories to help you remember who you are and why you're here, as well as regional stories that impact the people. And our World Situation Report reveals what's happening throughout the multiverse. We are here to restore Earth.
In the U.S., it is Wednesday, April 24th, 2024. Temperatures are getting warmer in the Northern Hemisphere, the perfect time to scout out new ice cream shops, like the one in Fuerteventura, Spain, where everything is made from scratch. And in Georgia, we'll talk with another group of entrepreneurs who are bringing the power of microgreens to their community. Have you ever heard of a light language before? Learn more about what it is and how it helps raise the vibration of the planet. A huge fire in India at the capital's largest garbage dump sends toxic fumes into the air, causing major problems for residents. And pro-Palestinian protests heat up at college campuses across the U.S.
This is Calen, messenger for United Network News. Here's a look at today's field messenger reports from all around the world. A new family-owned ice cream shop in Fuerteventura, Spain, has quickly become a charming attraction for both tourists and locals. UNN field messenger Emma takes us on a tour through this delightful confectionery.
Hi, this is Field Messenger Emma, reporting from Fuerteventura. I'm now in the city center of Corralejo, and I'm going to visit an ice cream bar. As you can see, the city center, the ocean is right behind us with all the beaches, and the rest is the main street where all the tourists are, so the situation is perfect, the location is perfect. So we're going to go inside and see how they make the ice cream. So they make everything from scratch. They start the morning making the base ice cream, and then they make the flavors, and they do them every day. So it's always fresh, and most days they are sold out during the day.
Hi, my name is Alexander Dreba, and I have this ice cream shop. I've been working with ice cream since 6-7 years back. While in there, I try to make best ice cream I can for my clients. We put the ice cream in this special calipers. We do it because it's better for the ice cream. Doesn't lose texture and doesn't get the sunlight. People don't see the product, but it's better for the ice cream. So this shop is made 100% focusing on the product. So
the ice cream shop called Adele is really a special concept because it's because of the very open design with glass walls, so clients can see absolutely everything that is going on there in the ice cream production. And they really focus on the quality of the ice cream, so everything is freshly made every day. And they focus on flavors and texture. And they also invested in more expensive equipment because the ice cream is sensitive to sunlight and high temperatures. So it's really high level ice cream. Thank you for watching.
Located in Stockbridge, Georgia, Peachy Sprouts specializes in farm-to-table microgreen, offering a range of highly nutritious greens cultivated through an advanced growing technique. UNN field messenger Claudia speaks for the owners about their inspiration behind launching this project.
Today we are with Stuart and Jacob, and they are the owners of Peachy Sprouts. So please let me know how you started.
Sure. So it all started with a trip to Thailand, actually. I went there, learned about microgreens, visited a 100% farm-to-table organic restaurant, which ended up me visiting their farm site and learning how to grow microgreens and kind of the whole process involved. We came back in June of last year and worked with Jacob, and we decided we wanted to start a business and be able to provide that high-quality microgreens.
Stuart reached out to me, and he was like, hey, I knew you know that I've been in Thailand. And he's like, I just wanted to give you an update on what I've been doing. I ended up looking into something called microgreens, and he's like, do you have any idea about it? And I was like, I don't think I've seen it at stores. I didn't really know a whole lot. So Stuart we had well over our 2-hour conversation. He kind of explained everything he had witnessed, the nutritional impact, how he was living over in Thailand. And he was like, I'm going to be back in a little bit. I was thinking we try to go in and we try to grow this for Atlanta. And I was just like, well, let's see what we can do. We had to, get our feet on the ground, and, it's been a mile a minute since. But the impact to the community has been great. We have repeat customers that, love our product, and they love that we're getting out. And now that we're doing agricultural science,
That is absolutely wonderful. So where are you placing your product?
So currently our product is going to be available at the Decatur Farmers Market in CFM. We will be at the Castleberry Farmers Market on Sundays, and we will be at the Serenby Farmers Market on Saturdays. But essentially, if you want to try a Peachy Sprout product, we'll be doing plenty of salads as well as individual products. You can get those at any of those farmers market or through our website at peachysprouts.com.
We want you to become a UNN field messenger. These are everyday people just like you who want to make a difference in their community. Don't need any special training or equipment. Just use the camera on your mobile phone and show us what's happening in your area. You send us your videos, and our production team will create the report for you. Our new website is now up and running at unitednetwork.earth. You can submit your Field Messenger reports directly through the Field Messenger tab at the page. You can also email your reports to our new email address at fieldmessenger@unitednetwork.earth.
Also coming up next week, we have a special Field Messenger online workshop. This is a great opportunity to meet members of the production team and learn new tips and tricks to help you create your Field Messenger reports. It is taking place on Sunday, April 28th, or Monday, April 29th, depending on where you're at in the world, but there is only one meeting. The direct link to the call has been posted in the Field Messenger group on Telegram.
Hey, I'm Kirsten from Switzerland.
This is Wayne from Tucson.
Hi, my name is Desmond from Ghana.
I am Claudia from Dawsonville, Georgia.
I'm Mikey from Pretoria, South Africa.
Hi, I'm Steve McGrath, Fort McMurray, Alberta, Canada.
People from all around the world are coming together.
Happy day, beautiful world. We are here in a rather small urban garden, and this video is just to show you the joys that we've had in this garden with the electric gardening.
When news happens in their area, they show us what's really going on.
We have people in the streets protesting for and against.
At United Network News, our field messengers are changing the face of news.
This is Field Messenger Helen reporting with nature, and I'm going to talk to you about the bees again.
Take the next step in restoring our planet. Become a UNN Field Messenger today.
Hi, I'm Stephanie from South Africa. If it's going to be, it's up to me.
If it's going to be, it's up to me.
It's up to me.
It's up to me. It's up to me.
It's up to me.
It's up to all of us. We're UNN, and we're taking back the news.
Humans are incredibly powerful. We constantly co-create with Source. Sometimes we even speak things into existence. This is done in many ways, such as speaking a light language. Kelly Bowker became a channel a couple of years ago. She often uses her light language to manifest and help raise the planet's vibration. So Kelly is back with us today. Kelly, I'm really excited about today's topic because you and I both grew up in the church and kind of went, different paths and things like that. I ended up doing more Pentecostal work, which led me to speaking in tongues, which is going to lead into our topic today. So one of the things we've talked before about you being a channel and connecting with other beings. And through that, you have found what you call a light language. And when I hear it, which hopefully we'll hear a little bit of it today, I equate it to what I was doing in a Pentecostal church with speaking in tongues. And I know a lot of people have questions about that because once you kind of go through this waking up process, you're like, oh, is that evil? Who was I actually talking to? Was I talking to bad, beings out there? Were they giving me, bad information? We just have a lot of questions. So what has been your experience? Tell us more about this light language.
So I too, when I was young, when I was in my early 20s, I was going to a Pentecostal church, and it was exactly how they described it. I got slayed in the spirit. I was praying with my whole heart. The Holy Spirit was bubbling up inside of me. And all of a sudden, shazam, I started to speak in tongues. That part of my life didn't last a long time, and it was associated with some negative things between my husband and I. And so I stepped away from that. But in my journey, through my journey, once I became a channel, I was just spending time daily. I would go into meditation. I would begin to channel. I would ask questions. I was figuring out how to live life. They were bringing through wonderful wisdom and just so much insight. And one day when I was meditating, I got this tremendous energy started at my feet and rolled up through the front of me. And I was in my head, and I talk with my guides through telepathy, which is instantaneous. But to repeat it to you all, I need to talk about it in order. So I was in my head going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, I'm scared, I'm scared, I'm scared. And they immediately said, then stop. And I said, but is this for my highest good? Am I supposed to do this? And they said, yes. And I said, then just don't leave me because I'm really scared. And they said, and the whole time that this is happening, my mouth is talking light language and my hands are going. And this was the first time. And my hands are just a going and my mouth is just a going. And I'm in my head screaming to my guides, holy crap, holy crap. And so I let it continue. And what I have said to people is that when this happened approximately 6 months after the first time I channeled.
Okay.
During that first 6 months, my channeling, I would call it, if I was going to use an analogy with electricity, I was plugged into 110. When I allowed the light language to flow, they plugged me into 220. And from that point on, I have had so much broader access. That's the only way I can explain it. Sometimes now when energies come through, I will shake all over. I get, I can feel nauseous. It's not all that pretty sometimes. It can be pretty overwhelming. But light language facilitates the channeling. So people, what is light language? I've asked the same question because I can do it in so many different ways. There's the light language that you can do while you're thinking about what you're going to have for supper. And I've asked them, well, what's that about? There's no great energetic feel to that. And they said that any time light language is spoken in this dimension, we are raising the frequency of our planet. So that's all certainly to the good.
Yeah.
When I am channeling, sometimes it's like the telepathy starts coming so fast and light language will just come through and it's like it parts and it gives clarity. It slows it down and it makes make sense in my head. Light language is the language of beings of light. And when you hear it spoken, you will hear different dialects. There'll be a dialect that will sound has a flavor to it, a little different. And then you just kind of shift a little and it can be like, it's a different dialect. And so what I know is I am reaching across timelines, dimensions, and realms, and I am connecting to beings of light. And they are bringing through codes and frequencies and information that can go into you, that can go into me, that can give us clarity and open our hearts. And it's wonderful.
So can anybody do this?
I believe they can, yes. My guides have given great guidance in how to develop this. They say, surrender, let your mouth start. Do just like I did in the Pentecostal church. I started to pray with my heart open and filled with love. And that Holy Spirit just started to move, and I let my mouth start. Just let your mouth start. It will come. It will come.
Yeah.
I do believe everyone can do it.
Yeah, that's very similar to the experience that I had in the Pentecostal church. It wasn't a takeover of my body. I think some people get scared of that. That's not what it is. It felt like another language, but it was so effortless and free and empowering. And it was more like that first dialect that you did. That's what I sound like when I was speaking in tongues. But it's people get scared of stuff that they're unfamiliar with. And when someone hears that, they're like, oh, you're communicating, if I don't understand it, it must be, negative beings out there, or it's Satan, it's whatever, they'll put all these labels on it. But that's never what I felt. And I do think this comes back to intention, right? And if you're connecting with God's source, the creator, it's this beautiful, it just blossoms.
Yes.
And, I used it in so many different ways. I used it in praying for people. I used it in keeping darkness away. And the feeling is so intense. And I'm so glad that you're talking about this now, because like I said, I feel like the whole speaking in tongues, that scares people. But this is like, it's a beautiful language with, like you said, light beings.
And it is the platter that you're serving an intention on.
Yes.
Light language carries the intention.
Yes.
So your heart connects and the beings send what is needed. You're praying for a sick loved one, and you've just let your light language come. That light language will bring the frequency and the information and the codes from different dimensions into our dimension. It's phenomenal. It's the most beautiful and most natural thing ever. And I would go up against anybody that said it was evil, because I know what I feel. It certainly is not evil. It's beautiful.
A new study from Japan shows anger can be managed by writing down what we are angry about on a piece of paper and then shredding or disposing of it. The results of this study are the result of years of previous research on the association between the written word and anger reduction. Participants were asked to rate their level of anger after receiving insults, writing down their reactions on a piece of paper, then either disposing of the paper or keeping it. The individuals who threw away their paper in the trash or shredded it returned to their normal mental states. Meanwhile, the participants who kept their paper copy experienced only a small decrease in their overall anger. Completely discarding or letting go of the paper reflected how they felt, proved to be the most successful in managing anger. This simple technique can be used by anyone who finds themselves in stressful situations. Just write it down and let it go. A formerly abandoned village in Italy called Bologna has been transformed by Giovanni Casale's innovative art project. Giovanni created this project to support his son, Pasquale, who suffers from a brain disorder. By weaving art into Bologna's essence, Giovanni witnessed his son's world becoming brighter and village coming back to life. The once forgotten streets of the village are now alive with vibrant murals and installations, turning the village into an open-air museum. This transformation has rejuvenated Pasquale's spirit and the entire community, showcasing the powerful role creativity plays in enhancing well-being. Today, the village stands as a stunning example of how art can heal and restore, attracting visitors and artists alike. In England, a new project is exploring the benefits of a reduced work week, and the results are encouraging. The project, involving 61 companies, trialed a 4-day work week for 18 months with no reduction in pay for the workers. The goal was to maintain 100% productivity by bringing more energy and efficiency to the workplace while lessening fatigue and burnout. It was so successful that almost 90% of the companies participating in the program still have the policy in effect today. They have reported happier workers, lower turnover, and greater efficiency. The majority of companies have said they will not be going back to the old 40-hour work week. The success stories coming out of the trial have proven a better work-life balance is possible. We are United Network News. Every day, we release real stories from real people all over the world.
Field Messenger reporting from Gold Coast, Australia,
Denmark,
Canada,
Uganda,
from Atlanta,
in Southern California.
In their own words, people like you share what's really happening in their area. At UNN, you are the news. You are creating a new world with infinite possibilities. You are the restoration plan. Come join us for the real news every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, only on United Network. We're UNN, and we're taking back the news. A potential nuclear disaster threatens the Fergana Valley in Central Asia due to unstable dams near Kyrgyzstan. These dams hold around 185 million gallons of uranium mine tailings or waste product and face the risk of collapse from natural disasters, which could release radioactive waste into waterways vital for regional agriculture. A recent landslide in 2017 has already heightened fears by weakening the dam's foundations. This looming threat endangers the livelihoods of 16 million people residing in the valley, a hub for cultivating essential crops like cotton, rice, and various fruits and vegetables. Experts warn an earthquake or another landslide could spread the toxic waste into rivers, severely affecting farmland and potentially making large areas of Central Asia uninhabitable. The European Commission and other entities have suggested relocating the waste to prevent disaster, estimating a cost of $23 to $27 million. Residents in India's capital are struggling with health hazards due to a recent fire at the city's largest garbage dump. The fire, which began on Sunday in New Delhi, has been mostly extinguished, but the toxic fumes it released have caused throat and eye irritation amongst the locals. This incident is part of a recurring problem in the country's capital, where landfill fires contribute significantly to air pollution. Methane emissions from the decaying waste pose serious health risks, and the residents living close to these dumps suffer from lung diseases, asthma, increased stroke risk, and skin and respiratory issues. Despite efforts to manage waste and mitigate fires, including the deployment of drones and experiments to extract methane, the city's landfills continue to pose a severe threat to the public health and the environment. Hong Kong has banned sales of certain spice blends by popular Indian brands MDH and Everest due to alleged high levels of a cancer-causing pesticide, ethylene oxide. Singapore also recalled an Everest spice mix, highlighting health risks associated with long-term exposure. These actions have prompted immediate quality checks by Indian authorities. The measure aims to ensure adherence to both national and international safety standards. This news is alarming for millions who trust and use these brands, not just in India, but across Europe, Asia, and North America. Everest has defended its safety standards, noting its compliance with Spice Board certifications, while MDH has yet to comment. Vietnam has adopted innovative farming techniques, significantly reducing water usage and methane emissions in rice production. This approach, which includes alternate wetting and drying irrigation and the use of drones for precise fertilization, lowers labor costs and the environmental impact. Rice stubble, once a pollution source, is now recycled as livestock feed or for mushroom cultivation. These sustainable practices allow for a decrease in production costs while maintaining yields, making it possible for the rice to be sold in European markets at a premium due to its organic status. The nation aims to expand these environmentally friendly methods to significantly more farmland to produce high-quality, low-emission rice. This initiative comes as parts of Vietnam, a major global rice exporter, face increasing threats from floods and droughts aggravated by upstream dams and rising sea levels. In Australia's mining sector, there is a noticeable shift with more young people and women joining the traditionally middle-aged male-dominated field. This change is driven by the industry's need for diversity and skilled labor. That's according to a recent government strategy targeting critical minerals. Young Australians are drawn to the sector's higher than average wages, offering a solution to the country's rising living costs and housing affordability crisis. The mining industry's substantial salaries enable financial stability and quicker debt repayment for many. Opportunities for fast career progression in remote areas also attract young professionals, promising significant professional development. While challenges remain, especially for young women, the increasing presence of female leaders and mentors is creating a more welcoming environment. Also in Australia, small businesses and individuals are facing a significant challenge with meta platforms, especially Facebook, due to a surge in account takeovers by hackers. The issue has led to widespread frustration amongst users who find themselves locked out of their accounts with little to no support from Meta. The lack of effective response from Facebook has placed an undue financial strain on the affected users, prompting calls for better support services. The situation has reached a point where some users are forced to abandon their compromised accounts and start anew, losing their followers and engagement in the process. This has sparked concern amongst Australian small businesses and individuals alike who rely on the platform for marketing and communication. The government and consumer advocates are pushing for the introduction of stricter regulations and potential financial penalties to hold social media platforms accountable for their security lapses. The World Bank has halted a $150 million tourism project in Tanzania due to reported abuses and suffering amongst local villagers. This move comes after a rights group highlighted the adverse impact on thousands of indigenous people, including forced removals, killings, and sexual assaults linked to the expansion of a national park. Initiated in 2017, the project was aimed at improving tourism and managing natural resources in southern Tanzania. With at least $100 million already dispersed, the suspension took effect on April 18th in response to pressure from rights groups documenting these abuses. Reports detailed how the expansion efforts directly affected local communities, with actions such as illegal seizure and auctioning of livestock severely impacting livelihoods. The decision to suspend funding aims to ensure the project adheres to stringent environmental and social standards. The British government has passed legislation allowing the deportation of certain migrants to Rwanda as part of efforts to curb illegal migration. This move was announced shortly after the Prime Minister made a commitment to begin deportation flights within weeks. Despite facing delays and opposition, the bill was finally approved after conceding to the elected House of Commons authority. The decision has sparked widespread fear amongst asylum seekers in Derby, with some already receiving notifications of potential deportation. Critics argue this policy could deter individuals seeking refuge, while others see it as an unjust treatment of those fleeing danger. Despite parliamentary approval, legal challenges are expected to continue. International bodies have criticized the plan, highlighting potential human rights violations and their impact on global migrant cooperation. Western Mediterranean container ports are experiencing unprecedented congestion, leading to increased inventory costs and delays in the delivery of goods. This situation, triggered by Houthi attacks in the Red Sea, has diverted a significant amount of shipping traffic to ports in Spain and Morocco. As a result, facilities are overwhelmed, affecting the timely supply of components to Europe's retailers and manufacturers. The congestion has been so severe, shipping lines are being forced to use further ports in Malta and Italy, further complicating logistics. Consumers and businesses alike are feeling the impact, facing delays and potential shortages of goods. Companies are being forced to hold extra stock to mitigate supply chain disruptions, inflating operational costs. The European Parliament has banned the sale, import, and export of products made through forced labor within the European Union, or EU. The decision, motivated by concerns over human rights violations in China, mirrors actions previously taken by the United States in 2021. The law aims to combat the exploitation of nearly 28 million people worldwide who were forced to work under severe conditions. Authorities within the European Union will now have the power to investigate and halt the distribution of any goods linked to forced labor, ensuring such products do not reach the European market. The legislation awaits final approval from EU member states, and once enacted, member states are expected to implement it within 3 years. The European Union has initiated an investigation into TikTok over its new TikTok Lite app, which rewards users for watching videos. This inquiry stems from concerns the app's design could potentially harm children, creating addictive behaviors and mental health issues such as anxiety, depression, and low attention spans. The EU demands TikTok present a risk assessment of the app, specifically focusing on its compliance with the Digital Services Act. TikTok has responded, noting that rewards are not accessible to users under 18, and there are daily limits on video watching tasks. The EU expects a comprehensive risk assessment from TikTok within a tight deadline, warning of potential fines and the suspension of the app's reward features if the company fails to comply. Protests are taking place at several prestigious U.S. universities as a response to the conflict between Israel and Hamas. At Columbia University, a demonstration has sparked fears amongst Jewish students following a series of anti-Semitic incidents, leading many to seek safety off campus. Harvard University faces criticism for suspending the Palestine Solidarity Committee, accused of violating school policy. In response, the group has raised concerns about restrictions on free speech, particularly in matters relating to Palestine. Yale University arrested approximately 45 protesters for trespassing following demonstrations against university investments and defense firms linked to Israel. MIT students are also protesting, demanding a ceasefire and criticizing the institution's alleged indifference to the Gaza conflict. Workers across the United States are increasingly relying on earned wage access apps, seeking financial relief between paychecks. However, this convenience comes at a cost, often leading to a cycle of dependency and financial strain. Users found the immediate access to wages for daily necessities like groceries overshadowed by hefty fees, with some spending more than 3 hours of their weekly pay on app charges. Others expressed discomfort for the tips suggested by the apps, feeling pressured to pay to keep services running. Critics argue these apps exploit financial insecurity, providing a temporary solution that fails to address underlying issues of insufficient income. The widespread use of the app services has prompted a call for regulation, with states like Connecticut and California taking steps to cap fees. Many families across the United States, particularly low and middle income ones, are struggling with the high costs and lack of availability of childcare services. This crisis has impacted workforce participation, especially amongst mothers, forcing some to leave their careers due to unaffordable or inaccessible childcare options. According to recent studies, the expense of childcare often exceeds the defined affordable threshold, leading to significant financial strain on families. The situation forces some parents into difficult decisions, like taking on additional jobs or foregoing career advancements. In extreme cases, financial stress leads to health issues and bankruptcy. Despite efforts by some to secure quality early education for their children, the pursuit can be both time-consuming and ultimately disheartening.
Tired of being programmed? At United Network, you'll discover the truth about what's really happening on our planet. Get instant access to our written news, UNN newscasts, world situation reports, and in-depth stories from our field messengers. Manifest your amazing abilities as we explore the new Earth. Plus, original series to inspire and encourage you throughout your day. Get connected through United Chat, our personal chat room where you can join the conversation, share your experience, and also submit your questions for Kim. Watch United Network at home or on the go through your computer, favorite online streaming program, or mobile apps.
Welcome to United Network News.
Start your free trial today. UnitedNetwork.Earth, bringing people together.
And now, the World Situation Report with Kimberly Gogan from the Office of the Guardian. Front corporations such as Northrop Grumman for the Secret Space Program take on the task of creating a new program to control the weather. But have they been successful? Welcome to Chemtrails 2.0. Remaining deep state members refuse to give up the fight, while some think restoration could be a solution. Do they have anything left? More on the Center for Amity and Restoration of Earth and what we can expect.
Now here's Kimberly Gogan with the Office of the Guardian. Hi, Kim.
Happy Wednesday, Sunny. How are you?
I'm doing good today. How are you? Are things crazy today or what?
You know, it's not too bad out there.
Okay.
A lot of changes have been going on, but I did want to bring up something that we found just so people can kind of understand how this works and what they might be seeing now in their skies.
Okay.
So people are currently reporting chemtrails that disappear fairly quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost a little bit confusing about whether they're chemtrails or contrails.
Right.
Contrails are condensation that comes from an aircraft, and they dissipate usually within, maybe 5 to 10 minutes after the plane disappears. These are very similar, what we're seeing. Now, they're not your atypical chemtrail that we've seen in the past, meaning they're not alien technology that they're trying to spray on us to turn us all into cyborgs, which is a positive.
Mm-hmm.
But the chemtrail manufacturing centers of the world are coming from Northrop Grumman. They were prompted by the secret space program folks that are left and the Space Force here in the U.S. To create some kind of a nanoparticle similar to what they had in the past, but something they could connect to their antiquated remaining computer systems worldwide in order to control the weather. Now, we know that HAARP was so powerful because it was tied to alien technology. Granted, the secret space program operatives, the 15 militaries, did have some access or limited access to the alien technology that was provided to them in order to sufficiently actually run a weather manipulation program. Now, Northrop Grumman, on the other hand, has no access to any of this technology and therefore has been prompted to try to recreate the same thing for control.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Northrop Grumman's claim to fame and the organization's ability to create technologies that are not considered a positive for humanity go back a long way since the invention and creation of the organization. The founding parties behind the scenes of Northrop Grumman are actually Project Paperclip Thule Society members that formed the organization, and they had a very you could say, I'm not going to say that they would be the boss of them, but I would say they do whatever they're told to do in exchange for these advanced technologies that they no longer have. Mm-hmm. So the secret space program and places like Northrop Grumman, Lockheed Martin, and all of your least favorite corporations in the world are all tied together in the same programs. The same thing goes for pharmaceutical industries and other things that we all dislike, let's just say, for what they're doing to us. Mm-hmm. DARPA is also involved to some lesser degree, and then you've got all your front corps. Northrop Grumman seems to me, I mean, other than obviously Elon Musk's X corporations or SpaceX or X Twitter, X this, X that, seems to be the recipient of a lot more than we probably thought of in the past. The problem is now is they're trying to replicate these things with little to no success. And they're working together on this new chemtrail program with the NOAA. So it's the Atmospheric Association for Research. To try to achieve this. So that's what we're seeing now as far as things being sprayed in the skies. Are they harmful to humans? I would say extremely sensitive, those with an autoimmune disorder. They're not meant to be harmful any more harmful to you than I would say, too much exhaust, driving in traffic, people that are super sensitive to that type of thing will have an issue with them, but they're not nearly as potent or detrimental to the human body as the old ones were.
And are they spraying this everywhere, Kim, or are certain areas more concentrated?
I've seen it a lot over the United States. I've seen it a lot more over areas that are, because this isn't a person-focused thing. Mm-hmm. Before it was focused on the high concentration of people. Right. So the higher the population, the more chemtrails you would see in your skies. I see it more going on in farming areas is what I'm seeing. Mm. So it's not targeted at the farms or the food itself. I think it's more targeted at creating a drought. Can we create a drought in this particular area? A lot of the time what we're seeing is the opposite actually happening. It causes a lot of rain. So it's kind of funny in a way. Northrop Grumman also has created some nano and femtotech that can actually interfere with human brain function as well. But those things cannot be utilized at this moment in time for spraying or putting in the food or that type of thing. It's a very strange administration process to interfere with human brain function. It's very similar to what Elon Musk is putting out there.
Like the Neuralink.
And I wouldn't doubt for a moment if they're not involved in some way, shape, or form together.
Right.
So at this moment, the good news is that these particular front corporations, as I call them, are struggling to find the things that they used to have and used to have access to. The predominant reason why they're trying to recreate these things with human technologies is because the secret space program folks have told them to do so, to see how far they get. There are some within the groups that are aware that it's weak as milk toast and that it's not going anywhere. So that being said, there was a lot of meetings that happened over the last couple of days because of their lack of success and lack of finding any resources with which to continue. As members of this group, you would have some secret space program remaining operatives. You would have global headquarters folks. You would have some very high up generals, Langley 5, and this is kind of a worldwide thing. This is not just an American thing. And in their meetings, there are some of them that have come to the realization if they're going to continue to survive and make money, they're going to have to do it our way. That we are not going to fund the things that perhaps happened in the past. One of the things that was brought up to me in the last 48 hours is that why did I give the Trump organization all of that money? Now, they're mistaken because what I gave was money for the United States to function in proper ways, and what I wanted to happen did not happen.
Yeah.
So it was for paying off student loans. It was paying off United States debt. It wasn't, and there was, make no mistake that, these people made the comment because I think they were trying to figure out if there was a way to manipulate me. Like if I did it with Trump, why wouldn't I do it with them or the next person or Trump again? Is that a possibility? The answer to the question, let me help you out here, is no. No again, and no some more. I tried to do the right thing by people with what I had access to at the time, which was through governments. I was always able to get down to density 3 at that time, and that was pretty much all I could do. And, relief for Hurricane Michael, I talked to them about what the problem that they were going to have with mudslides on the West Coast when all those fires happened. We talked about the fires. We talked about a lot of things that were going to help people. Unfortunately, that never happened. And it will never happen again. So that was my mistake. But also remember too, we were still under contract until 2022 with governments because of the 10-year extension. So now all of that's expired. I don't have any obligations here to do anything with anybody of this nature anymore. Now, in the meetings, there are some that still are adamant that they can find something in some way not to talk to me ever. And so those people were given a little more time by their colleagues, by their respective same group of people. And my understanding is, now I'm not saying this is definitely going to happen, but they gave them until 3 o'clock today to see if they could make any kind of progress. That's 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today. If there's no progress, then they have told them, then their flags are going down at 3 o'clock.
What's the ratio, Kim, of people that are willing to move forward or at least seem more willing to talk restoration versus the people that think that there's something that they're going to get by 3 p.m. today?
I would say it's probably 25% for and the rest are against, is what it looks like. The predominant reluctancy is coming from the SSP folks.
That think that they know everything because they've been
and some of the silent circle people. Yeah, because they know everything.
Yeah, exactly.
And but the real question is how much power does the 25% have over the rest of them?
It's true.
It's how much backing do they? Yeah, how much backing do they actually give them? So we'll see what happens at 3 o'clock Eastern. I just watch. I mean, I don't have a feeling on it one way or another.
Yeah.
I am not hopeful one way or another. If it happens, great. It doesn't make any difference, honestly, with what we are doing right now, as far as cleaning up, fixing things, pushing transactions through and seeing if what blocks us. What these people do absolutely makes zero difference in our lives. To any consequence that would have anything to do with this, other than the fact they can get on TV and talk some stuff, right?
Yeah, keep up that
That
charade.
could be negatively affect us both in the alternative media and in the media. So there are some things that could possibly happen that could make waves for people if they believe it. So we'll see, like everybody else. I do think that the influence for these conversations and some of the common sense interjection is coming from the cartels participating in these meetings. Look, there has to come a time where you just say, this is not working. You have tried to fix your own car for the last 6 months. It is time, and in their case, 16 years. You have tried to fix your own car for a very long time now. It's time to say, take it to the mechanic.
Yeah.
We have to try get a new car. We have to do something else because we don't have a car at this moment. It's been 6 months. That's basically the course of the conversation. We are going around and around and around in circles. We keep waiting for all these days. Nothing ever happens, and if it happens at some point in the future, great. We'll be here to receive it. But at this moment in time, we got nothing.
So do you think the cartels, have they kind of grouped together then with the silent circle, anti-silent circle, secret space?
I wouldn't call them grouped together at this point. There is a lot of they were together in the past. Then again, agencies work together with all the cartels. I mean, everybody worked together with everybody. It's one giant group.
Yeah.
I would say that their forced control, maybe it's out of former relationships, but it seems to me like their forced control has turned into more of a, come on, people, get it freaking together. Like, this isn't going to happen. We're running out of money. Maybe there's something else we can do here. It seems to be a little lighter than it was in the beginning.
Yeah, because it really felt like the cartels, had, I don't know if they had the upper hand, but they, that they really brought something to the table as their own group. And it feels like that just kind of dissipated. And it's like, they're working more together. I don't know, but that's just my perspective.
I wouldn't call it working together. I would call it, like if you're having a corporate board meeting is what it looks like to me. And a lot of the board sees the company going bankrupt, seeing board members assassinated, seeing, like, look, guys, what we know where it's coming from. How do we fix it? If our corporation is going to survive, we need to go to get an influx of cash. And right now there's only one place to do that. Can we change it? There's a lot of talk amongst operatives that are still participating with them out of obligation or because they're getting small amounts of partial payments here and there or something like that. And the big talk amongst them is that there's a lot of loss of life right now. And, they're like, look, there are going to be none of us left to play the game. We got to make some decisions here. We did receive some communications from some of them about, are we ready to start contracting with them? What they've always told me is they will not do that until we can successfully transfer money without resistance from anyone else. So, with lack of help from anyone or treasuries or any departments, the answer to the question is, well, you'll have to wait for us. Take as long as it takes to get it done. As far as they're concerned, that's your answer, That could be this afternoon for all I know. You know, I don't know. I mean, we keep trying, pushing, trying, cleaning, pushing, trying, cleaning. It's all alien tech. It's not technology from here at all anymore. It's not humans. It's not the NSA. It's not, SSP. It's, occasionally they'll jump in with something some alien tech they found somewhere. And all it really does is block us. It doesn't give them any one-up. It doesn't give them any money. It doesn't give them any ability to get money, that kind of thing. So there's that. Okay. We'll, of course, inform you on Friday of what's going on. Now, just briefly, and I know this sounds, my studio here is in my basement, and currently that is flooded. I have a water heater problem. So yeah, it's been a couple of plumbing issues after plumbing issues down there. So I don't have a way to really get on and see you guys. So I will as soon as I can. Word on the street is the plumber's actually going to be able to fix it by tomorrow. So we'll see. Maybe I'll see you Friday. I'm hoping to. But this is why you haven't seen me for about a week or two. I mean, we've been bailing out buckets down there. So.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a real deal, guys. There you go. Our fancy
So I just
studio
want to
is
tell you
flooded.
that I'm not doing this on purpose. I'm not avoiding being on camera for any reason, But that's the truth down there. So okay. Next, I wanted to touch a little bit on care. And there's a lot of people that are trying to move forward with care, and there's a lot of misunderstandings in some ways of what care is going to do. So I thought I'd give you a little bit more information. And this is for you. This is for them. We have some new people that may or may not make other decisions this afternoon. So we'll see. But the Center for Amity and Restoration of Earth, as it is called, is a compilation of humans. That's what it is. Now, there are a lot of humans, for example, that have been farming land for 3 generations. They have done this on a commercial scale, and they would be in part of food security. They're ranchers, they're, farmers. They know the problems, they know the industry, they know how, what their current issues are, insurance, everything. So they would be a part of a food security or agricultural division. Okay. Now, as part of that same division, you would also have a group of research scientists, because they are going to listen to the farmers, and they are going to try to develop different ways of fertilizing, different way of pest control, different ways of revitalizing soils. They're going to come up with the solutions to the problems that those farmers have faced. Okay. Next. In addition to those people on these committees, you are also going to have people that have been involved in transportation services, because this is also an important part. And they are going to discuss, with all of the above, the issues that they have faced in transporting food in a timely manner. What is the distance? Why do we have to travel that distance? That makes no sense. Why are we transporting food to one location and then transporting it, 5 miles down the road from the farm which it originated from? It makes no sense. What are the issues and the problems, and how can we solve this issue? So this is just one committee we're talking about. We're just talking about food right now. Next. How do we get the food to the people? That's also in part a transportation issue, but it's also maybe a retail issue. So we need people on this committee that have been involved for years in the retail industry that will tell us all the problems that store owners, current grocery stores or convenience stores owners face, and how we can solve these issues. Do we still need to have big conglomerate stores? Do smaller stores better? Is it better to buy in bulk? What are the differences if we're getting it straight from the farmers? What can we move? Can we add additional farms in other areas, closer to cities? Is that a possibility? Is that bad because, we have a pollution issue? In addition to that, we are also going to have manufacturers of farming equipment. What are the problems that farmers are facing? We want to talk to those people. We want to talk to the research and development people and find out what are the problems that they are facing with tractors and tillers, and is there a better way? What would they like to see happen? And then they'll have a conversation with the people in the research and development area that are prevalent in this. Mm-hmm. Now, in addition to all of these people, we will have some people you call industrialists. An industrialist job, now these are people that have been in industry. I'm not saying they're Bill Gates or anything like that, but they've been in industries for a long time. They might be in construction for a long time. They might be in manufacturing tractors. They could be in any part of any one of these industries, but these people know how to make business work. In other words, they've run multi-million-dollar corporations before. They see the pitfalls in developing a business that doesn't have key factors. They will help with the financial aspect of what is making farms successful and what is making them fail. What is making stores successful? What is making them fail? What is making the research and development products? I mean, to give you an example, and I've given you this example before, I have had scientists say, let's just say, we're trying to create new door stoppers, and they will say the best material for a door stopper is gold. Well, how much gold can we source? And is that the only material we could possibly use, even though it's probably the best, according to the scientists? It's very expensive right now. Can we transport it? It's quite heavy. And then how do we sell it to people and say, look, in order to stop your door, you're going to pay $2,317. It doesn't make any sense. Mm-hmm. But from a scientist standpoint, it makes perfect sense because it's the right, weight, it's sturdy enough, but still soft enough not to damage the door, whatever they're thinking in their head. Yeah. So we have to take all the things that come out of research and development, and we have to say, okay, they're recommending we put this mineral in the soil because then it will revitalize the soil, or this combination of minerals. Mm-hmm. And then the industrialists come in and say, okay, where can we source mineral X? I shouldn't use the word X. Mineral A. Where can we source mineral B? Can I source enough of it for X amount of hectares or acres? Can I do that? I'm not sure. Maybe we can go back to the scientist and say, look, I know mineral A is the best, but is there another way we can get it? Can we manufacture it in a laboratory? Will it have the same effect on the soil? That's what industrialists actually do. They're the ones that will source the raw materials, make sure it's feasible, viable, check on customs fees, check out to see if we can actually source to increase the amount of cattle until we can figure out another way for humans not to eat, that kind of thing, and still get the same benefits. So there are short-term solutions that are required right now. There is a huge problem. This is a problem. Now, we need these types of people to be on committees. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure there's probably something or other I'm leaving out, but you kind of get the gist of it. We're probably, need some botanists on there, hybrid plants. How can we grow them better? There's all kinds of research and development involved in this. But there are a lot of people that are making comments like, we have developed something, say a computer program that will be great for a sovereign bank and all the money will go through our financial system. Well, the answer to the question is probably no, because that's a nice thought, but we're trying to get away from people, like one funnel. Yeah. Number one, you open yourself up for attack. Sorry, but you do. Because if you are one funnel funneling through trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars, you are now a target, a huge, huge target. So the answer to the question is absolutely no. The only way to fix that is to break it up into millions of different pieces. And because they can't target, there's not enough of them left to target all of those. Number two, even if we're not targeting deep state problems anymore, let's say we don't have any more deep state. Wow, what a wonderful world. You're still going to have crazy people.
Yeah.
You're going to have crazy people that are upset that their so-and-so, didn't get the correct treatment under life assurance or something. And now they want to shoot you. You didn't send out the payment on time. Therefore, the doctor didn't provide service. And now my, spouse has passed away or something. There's going to be people that will just blame you for everything. And now you're a singular target. You open yourself up for legal liability, and the absolute answer to the question is no, no, no. And the person listening to this will know exactly who I'm talking about. Absolutely not. So committees might be of multiple sizes. As far as financial, we sat down into this financial system as it is right now, with the poker hand already been dealt and halfway played. We have huge financial problems worldwide right now. We have derivative issues. We have CDOs, CDLs, CDSs. Person wanting to run bank and said financial system has never even been in the financial industry at all. So we are going to need people that have experience in this. Yeah. We also need to have discussions with people who have been economic assassins in the past. Sorry, but we do. Because these people will know how they're going to destroy you. Therefore, they can help you not be destroyed. They were involved, a lot of them, in destroying the financial system of the planet, the advent of the stock markets worldwide, and the continuation of backdoors and propping them up and plunge protection committees and all of these things that exist. So these people are going to have the same. We have to, unfortunately, unwind the system as it is. This goes back to the thing I always say. If you are driving in a car and you are going 140 miles per hour on the freeway, God bless you. That is so much fun, isn't it? But if I slam the brakes on at 140 miles an hour, I am going through the windshield. Yeah. The other thing is, if I hit a pebble in the road, that could actually knock me right off my path, because at that speed, anything that goes wrong could kill you, really. Right? Once you start getting 140, 180 miles an hour, it could kill you. So we need to slow this car down, recognizing the fact that we didn't get there overnight. Maybe you got 0 to 60 in some fast sports car or something like that, but we did not get here overnight. It took, hundreds of years. I mean, the actual paper money system started in the late 1500s. I'll leave it at that because I don't remember if it was 1576. But that's a lot of centuries, we've been playing this game. So realize it's just getting more and more complicated over time. People hate MERS, the mortgage system. Well, that's right. They issue derivatives off your mortgage, sell it out in many pieces, and diversify the risk. How do they diversify that risk? Why do they diversify that risk? And how do we fix it? Firstly, we have to come up with something that's better for consumers, that will actually make legal sense. Now, this is applicable to the complete restoration of a financial system on Earth. So I'm going to tell you a story. A group of people from a particular country that nobody is happy with at this moment, so you'll know where that is, in the Middle East. But this group of people decided to go to an African country and build what we would know as in America as tract homes. So, there's copper wiring, piping, the whole thing. And they decided to come in and do it their way without any regard of what the local people have, the way they've been living, nor having them participate financially or otherwise, in the building of these homes. They did not consult them with the layout, the roads, where the farms were, nothing whatsoever. And what good is a beautiful, nice home, and maybe they put in power, maybe they put in, sewage lines and water lines and that kind of thing, possibly. And that's lovely. But these people can't even afford to pay attention. How are they going to afford to keep your power on? How are they going to afford to keep the water running? They can't. The answer to the question is they cannot. They cannot pay your ridiculous prices for the power plant that you put in the sewage plant, and the water treatment plant, because you people don't live in reality. That's the problem when you have foreigners coming into your region trying to build something. And so about 6 months later, these people returned to see how well, obviously nobody was paying electric bills and stuff to them and water bills to them. And so they went back to go do an inspection. Well, they started making fires in the toilets and bringing them outside. They took all the copper wire and sold it on the black market. So there was no possibility of electricity anymore, but they could eat food. Another example of a problem with our financial system. Okay. And this is actually directly related to humans and human behavior currently. Another group of people from a different country, let's call it America, decided to go to a country in, you could say, the East. It's not an Asian country. Well, it is, but I consider it right there on the border. It's fairly close. And they decide to come in with this wonderful technology, probably provided by one of these corporates, at the time, where they wanted to put in a levitating, magnetic, electrically running train. Now, coincidentally, China's also trying to do the same thing in the same country. Matter of fact, they'd like to put in a train for their Silk Road project, one road, one belt, project. And the funny part about it, I do know people in this particular country, and they cannot, I'd be on a Skype call with these people or a Zoom call with these people, and the power goes out constantly in a major capital city. I'm not even talking about the area where they wanted to put said train, in a major capital city. And rolling brownouts are constant in this particular area. There is not enough electric power in the country. There is not clean water in a lot of areas, where they wanted to put this train. There's nothing out there, no infrastructure for this whatsoever. So to the people that live there, who can, the majority of them in this particular area probably can barely afford to sell their fruits and vegetables in the market. They definitely are not using credit cards, I can tell you that right now, or debit cards, because they can't not afford it. And number one, you never know if you're going to go to the market and it's not going to work. With 20% fees going to banks and various other organizations. See, part of your financial system as well. Big problems. Currency conversion rates. How long does it take for the merchants to get paid in other countries? Maybe you get it in 5 to 7 days in the US, but in other countries it could take you 2-3 weeks, a month to get paid. These people can't afford that. And number two, there's no way they're going to afford €196 to ride your train. You're ridiculous right now. These are the problems when you don't include people like industrialists, people from each particular region to identify those issues, firstly. And you have to talk to the merchants. You have to talk to the people in the area. Then you have to deal with the issues of the power companies, the current power companies. And then you have to implement something else, into the system that actually functions, and things, like the neutrino boxes we can drop anywhere and create power. Is there enough of them? How do we get them there? Do we have enough rare earth minerals to make them in that capacity for that? Or are they better served someplace else first, like the main capital city of this country I'm talking about? See? And all of this is directly related to the financial industry. You have customs and borders control. You have all kinds of things that need to be involved in revitalizing a financial system that people can live in. Live, not survive, not live in lack, that can thrive in on a short-term and a long-term basis. Because everything I just told you about affects you personally. Now, my story about the homes has to do with human behavior. Would it have been different if the people that came in there from this wealthy country take into account that these people can't pay you for water? There's no job creation in this particular area that is going to allow them a salary that is going to then pay you. Part of this is financial, but part of this is a housing issue, which is a whole nother thing. Next, so you didn't give them any reason why, these people can't even eat right now. So of course they're going to pull the copper wires and sell it on the black market out of their house because they don't have any power anyway. Without proper industrialists that are familiar and people familiar with demographics, that's another one. You're going to relocate a bunch of people from an area that floods all the time, and you're going to put them in another area of the country that doesn't flood all the time, let's just say, until you can create a water diversion project that works. There are areas of the world that flood every year like clockwork. Considerations for local engineers and consultants, on said board is important. But I don't need just any regular person to be on this board. I need engineers. I need people that have been designing homes in that particular region with that particular soil for a long time. They understand the area, they understand the people, they understand the demographics, and they understand what the people need and how to actually build it. To work in conjunction with industrialists and other people that will then bring the retail centers we just talked about in the farming and food industry and transportation to this particular location, and how many toothbrushes based on how many people, how many clinics you need, all of these things come into account. And I know this all might sound confusing to you, but what I'm seeing in groups that are being formed is absolutely zero consideration for anything I just said. I'm seeing a bunch of good-hearted people who have an intention of doing good in this world.
Yeah.
And I'm also seeing, in some cases, the oppressed want to become the oppressor without taking into consideration who should be involved. Peace Corps is another one. They go into these particular areas and they're just kids out of college that might have specialized in human resources. They might have specialized in food, agriculture, whatever. It doesn't matter. And then they go to these places thinking they're doing something really good, or they go on missions for their particular church and they think they're doing something really good, but they introduce things that aren't native in that area.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're causing a supply chain problem because you don't take into consideration once you leave and the people can no longer get that resource. Now what is going to happen to them? They become dependent on that resource. Therefore, maybe they stopped growing rice in that area, or they stopped trying to, instead of trying to fix the rice paddies, you decided to introduce rice from another area, and now they can't get it. Now everybody's starving, and that's the end of that. It's not that the people are bad that are trying to do these things, and the kids that get out of college and go into the Peace Corps or missions for their churches and they dig a well or, whatever that is. That's lovely. But without proper consultation with people that have been doing this for a very long period of time, you're not going to get very far. You're going to end up destroying areas of the world rather than helping people, even though your heart is in the right place.
Mm-hmm.
So do I talk to farmers on a daily basis? Well, I would say I probably talk to 10 to 15 of them at least once a week. And they're from different countries all over the world. You know, they have told me about a lot of problems, you know, that are going on. Have I ever been a commercial farmer? You know, of course, they came at me at first, you know, like I've never seen a farm in my life. But once we started talking about ways, crop insurance, how expensive it is, you know, government subsidies that never come or kind of sort of come, you know, all of the issues that they're experiencing that are making them, you know, obviously there's Mother Nature. Hopefully it's just Mother Nature in the future that causes a drought or something. But what do they do in that case? How do they feed their family until the next season? You know, all of these things that, you know, I've listened to them, you know, with my ears, my heart, my mind, and my soul to try to figure out a way to fix it, not only for them, because I consider them a critical part of humanity, to the point where if we don't address their concerns and needs, we're not going to have farmers anymore because it's not productive. They're going out of business. They can't afford to be there. They're promised subsidies or drought, you know, payments from the government that never come. You know, right now everything is so haphazard and all over the place. Systems that they put in place in 1975 are, and I say that year for a reason, are not working. They're breaking down. They were not meant to work for prolonged periods of time. Mm-hmm. Now, that being said, I'm not trying to discourage people because there's a place for everyone in what we're doing here. I do not want to control it. I want to be at the bottom of this organization, not the top, meaning the right people in the right places with the right hearts, and just basically making sure that everybody has everybody's best intentions at heart. Can everybody make a lot of money doing this? Absolutely they can. But we need to start somewhere. Right now, we have no organization whatsoever. I mean, long before we ever even decided to create CARE, our only bit of organization has been a tyranny. And we just did what we were supposed to do in order to survive. Now we have to figure out what we're going to do in order to live. We have helpful things along the way, you know, life assurance, pet assurance, things like that. Those infrastructures are already written, you know, and they're hundreds and hundreds of pages long. It's not like a one day, you know, well, we just decided to do this and then it just miraculously comes out of the air. We figured out how it was going to affect every single, you know, from people that provide medical technologies to the people that make the needles to the people that make, you know, how is this going to affect it? And there's going to be an influx, and how could we handle that increased production? Because more people are going to go to the dentist than ever before, whether they choose a holistic dentist or otherwise, because that's one thing that people will neglect, because the insurance is terrible and they can't afford hundreds of thousands of dollars, as an example, to go to the dentist. But if you can go to the dentist and they get paid up front, but they're happy, you're going to have more dentists out there too.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're going to need a lot more dentists. We're going to need a lot more, you know, specialists. And then we're going to need to train all those specialists in a way that actually makes holistic and homeostasis health sense.
Mm-hmm.
Got a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be, like I said, I'm not trying to scare anybody off. You know, I value people's opinions. I value what it is they think they want to do. But when I put it into that perspective of how well thought out this is on our end of it, that's just addressing 2 of the 250,000 different, what I call industries out there. You know, this is not like I just woke up and said, oh, I'm going to make a CARE, and I just expect it to miraculously appear. You know, these are things that we have sat down and put together like down to a detail of how many toothbrushes are required in a specific area. If I relocate those people from here to over there, what is the best material for a toothbrush in this area? Do I have any way to dispose of plastic waste or batteries if you're going to use that kind of toothbrush? And how do I do that? It's important to understand all the details is all I'm saying. And I'm not seeing that come from anyone, let alone people that decide that they wanted to control and quote, and I quote, which I heard this, we have to manifest a way for all the money of care to come through us, end quote.
To go through that group, whoever that group is.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. So it's a positive thing for humanity in the long run. It's a lot of work for all humans. It's a lot of work, for example, just in this one little industry that we talked about, farming, and a little bit about finance, but, because the 2 and 2 will go together at some point. But for farming, think about all the work. I'm grateful and thankful for the farmers that I do talk to that are willing to kind of step forward and identify industry issues and present possible solutions. But they'll be presenting possible solutions to people that can create a new way of tilling soil. Or go ahead.
I was just going to say, yesterday I interviewed a farmer, a cattleman, actually. He does a bunch of different things for the New Earth. And we're going to be releasing some segments with him. But he and his farm focuses on regenerative farming. And he was talking about all the things that they have done. And his grandfather started the farm a long time ago, which is in Georgia in the US. And he was talking about how, people came in and they kind of industrialized things, and then they started noticing all these problems with the soil. And so when he took over the farm, he totally transformed it. It's taken many decades. And one of the questions that I asked him was about, well, why isn't this picking up more? And he's like, it's a lot of work. And he's like, the turnaround, or the profit isn't as much. There's all of these little things, and he's still doing it because it's important to him and it's important to his family. It's important to his town. It totally changed his town for the better. But he was telling me about some of these issues, and you're right. There's a lot to think about, and you really need the people, boots on the ground, so to speak, that have been there, done that. He's a great example of that, and some of the issues that they face in making something like that happen. So I totally understand what you're saying.
Yeah. And I would not be the one to sit there at the table and revitalize the entire farming industry. I have a small garden in my backyard that I'm like ecstatic over, like when something grows, so I'm not that person, but I'm an excellent listener. For example, one of the things that we were discussing was the fact that, during drought time, they're not getting their drought payments. Crop insurance really doesn't pay enough to revitalize for the next year, that kind of thing. And how do we get away from this on a commercialized basis? I said, well, what if we were to do, for example, 10-year forward production contracts, and we agree you're going to produce X amount per year of grain, just like grain, whatever it is. And then we were to pay for that first year's production up front. Now that would make a world of difference in a farmer's world. Now, on top of that, let's just say you don't produce a amount of grain that year, you're a little shy. So that production then rolls over to the next year. Let's say there was a total drought, a total wipeout of the majority of your crops that next year. Well, then it just rolls over to the next year.
Right.
So you are required to produce this for sure, but you still receive that year's payment. You see?
Yeah.
So it works within the financial industry to do something like that. And there's ways that we can do that in a lot of cases for production of new things. But see, the problem I have with people that just want to come in and throw rainbows and sunshine everywhere, you know, the African country that I'm speaking of, with the houses and the copper wire is a perfect example of why you need to get the local community involved. Yeah. If you are going to build houses in a region, you need those people to build the houses with you. You need to create the jobs and pay them decent enough so that they can then afford to live in the house. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you're going to have toilets that make good fires outside. That's really the, and I tell you these things just because I understand people have certain opinions of me. And one of the other comments in this same thing that I watched was that I feel like we are, if you've ever seen this, it's an American movie called The Bad News Bears. Do you remember The Bad News Bears as a kid, Sonny?
Yeah, baseball.
They said they feel like they are the bad news bears, quote unquote, and that I am the drunken coach.
How so?
Yeah. The answer to the question is, yeah, not. I maybe when I'm on the news, I don't share everything with everybody all of the time. And sometimes I just can't.
Yeah.
You never give your enemy enough information to tell them where you're going and where you're going to be. Mm-hmm. That doesn't happen. So sometimes, I hold back some information, and sometimes I explain things in such a way to you that most everybody will understand it. And even then, some of it's kind of hard to understand. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I don't bother saying anything about what a Leviathan is and what a zero density is and mirrored into the fifth causal plane and how that affects Earth and all of these types of things. Because why? I tell you as much as I can, especially as it relates to things that may make you, especially if you're sensitive, feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You're not crazy. You're not going to die. You're not dying of some crazy ailment that you know nothing about. And, but it's a fact. It does happen. Morgellons, all of these types of things are parasites. Like people think they're going nuts because they feel it. They're so sensitive, or they feel like they're having anxiety attacks for no reason, when in reality, it's just an energetic change. Those are things that I share with all of you, but don't think for 1 second that I don't hear a lot of things and see a lot of things and do a lot of things that I don't share and express, because it's not safe to do so at this moment in time.
Yeah.
But I caution people in thinking that, you're not the bad news bears, first of all. You're just a group of people. You feel disorganized because you're trying to control industries you know nothing about. Mm-hmm. It's uncomfortable for you. So I would suggest that you find, 50 farmers, 100 farmers, find them in every single country, find 200 farmers, 400 farmers, different regions of different countries, and start talking to all these people if you're going to talk about an agricultural industry. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you have no business in even writing it on a piece of paper that it's part of your organization. So with that, I'm going to drop my mic. As I had an extremely low-flying helicopter come in, the second one today. So I'll have to go find out who that is. Yeah. Well, like I said, there's a lot of talk about what may happen at 3 o'clock, today. So the first group of people that came in here were for what they call scouting. So when a VIP comes into a particular area, they come 2 weeks ahead of time, 10 days to 2 weeks ahead of time. In this particular case, I don't think it'll be that long. I think they'll be coming sooner than that.
So who would be a VIP, like the SSP people, Langley?
Generals that don't know the name of, so it's no point in mentioning. It could be, for a president, if the president is going to go to a location, let's just say the president of the United States is going to go visit the president of Moscow.
Yeah.
You are talking about 2 to 3 weeks prep time. Pre-negotiations of deals, all that kind of stuff happens. Do I see that happening here? I don't, who knows? These people are, the people that I know of that are talking about making a change within the Pentagon and within agencies, that kind of thing. They consider themselves very VIP.
They do.
You know. And, you know, is it a show? I mean, this place obviously is pretty secure, locked down, locals take care of everything, you know. Do you feel the need to do that? Okay, fine, you know.
Like a lot of pomp and circumstance. Like, just go and meet.
Well, you know.
It's about appearances still.
My prep is I just need to make sure I have my keys. I
maybe take a
might
shower.
throw on a hat and some gym clothes and head out to the grocery store or something, you know.
Yeah.
That's my prep.
Well, you know, they've got that whole ego thing, and ego gets in the way a lot when it comes to this stuff. So.
Yes. Well, you know, yes, they do.
So 3 o'clock, which as of this recording is just in a little bit. Well, Eastern time. Yeah, because I'm 3 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, probably in about 35 minutes from now.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, 1 o'clock to 3. Mm-hmm.
All right.
So we'll see. You know, I don't think there are some that are just feverishly hacking like crazy right now, just trying to get anywhere to show some kind of progress on their front. But they're making anti-progress actually.
Mm.
Yep. So God bless them.
They're consistent.
Well, and
maybe
for us, you know,
bad.
we're more concerned right now with, you know, setting things up at the same time. We are, you know, energy goes where attention flows, and we are flowing our attention towards building an infrastructure of farmers and industrialists and people that have been in the financial industry that know how bad it is and how corrupt it is and where all the nepotism is and where all the bodies are buried and, you know, and how to fix it. We are talking about, you know, people that may have been in the political sector and how we're going to fix it. So what? You know, governments go down. What do you think? Everybody's going to disappear?
Yeah.
May not happen that quickly, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So a lot to consider and a lot to do and a lot of work. And like you said, your farmer is just one example of saying, you know, hey, you know, we're willing to cut profits to make a difference.
Yeah.
But is everybody?
Mm-hmm.
And can everybody?
Right.
So that is the World Situation Report for, what is this, Wednesday? Hopefully I'll have my situation in the studio. I won't be floating and rowing a boat on camera maybe next time.
Row your boat. Okay, thank you, Kim.
Thank you, Sunny.
Want to share news from UNN? Help us change the face of social media and use it for good. Connect with us through our online channels. Our social media team creates clips from each newscast you can easily share with people you care about. That's also where you'll find our UNN meme of the day, a great way to encourage critical thinking. Links to all our social media sites are available at the bottom of our website at unitednetwork.earth. Let's change the face of news together.
That wraps up today's news update. Please share UNN with your friends and family. We need everyone to come together and help restore our planet. When news happens in your area, record it and share it with us so together we can share it with the world. Remember, if it's going to be, it's up to me. I'm Sunny Galt. Join us Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for the real news.